Hello world, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn about this stitch. Is an easy stitch and it also add texture to your work, add details to your work. It makes your work beautiful, look so much beautiful, and it's called a Leafy puff. A puff Leafy stitch. You can use it for any project that you desire. This stitch normally works well with hooks that are bigger than your yarn that you are using. So when you take any yarn, being a lazy yarn or any yarn of your choice, make sure that the hook is bigger than the yarn that you are using. Use a bigger hook for it, and it works so well with that, but it should not be all that big. So first you make your chain, and with this stitch you chain according to how you want it. Make sure you chain in multiples of 2, or make sure your number of chains, you have even chains. Then you add 1 to it for the sake of the turning. So you chain. So if you're chaining 30, you chain 30. If you're chaining 40, you chain 40. So I'm using a 3.0 hook, hook with this yarn. Okay, so next what you do is you chain 1, then you double crochet into the next stitch hole that you have there. Then in the next stitch hole you have another double crochet. So you make your first double crochet in your first stitch hole, then in the next you make another double crochet. Then we are going to chain 1, we skip 1, then in the next stitch hole we make another double crochet. Then the next stitch hole will take a double crochet. You chain 1, you skip 1, in the next you make a double crochet. In the next one too, you make another double crochet. So anytime you chain 1, you skip 1, in the next 2 stitches you make a double crochet. So that's for row 1. Okay, so you are making double crochet, 2 double crochet, you will chain 1 and we skip 1, then we'll make 2 double crochet in 2 different stitches. Okay, let's do that till we get to the end. At the end of your work, make sure that you chain 1 and you end with the 2 double crochets. Okay, so just like this one, you chain 1 and you make 2 double crochet in the 2 stitches that we have. Okay, so this row 1. In row 2 you chain 1 and you turn your work. Right, so when you turn your work, with the first stitch hole you're going to make a double crochet over there. In the next you're going to have another double crochet. Right, now the stitch hole that we find here, we are going to have our puff leaf over there. So you yarn over, you pull your yarn. Okay, you make sure that it's loose enough for you. You yarn over, then you pull your yarn again. You yarn over and you pull your yarn again. So 3 times. Okay, and make sure that it is loose. That's why I recommend using a bigger hook for this project, not all that big. So in the next stitch hole that you have over there, you do the same thing. You yarn over and you yarn over and you pull the yarn 3 times. So you get a lot of loops on your hook. Then you pull through all these then you single crochet to keep them in place. So we've done with our first puff leaf. We chain 1, then in the last mesh hole that we created, this mesh hole that we created, or where we have our last puff leaf, you make the same puff leaf there. So you yarn over 3 times, then you move on to the next space that you have there. Then you have another yarning over 3 times, getting several loops on your hook. Then you pull through, I don't know how much loops you have here, but let's say 3, it's like 12 or something. So you yarn over and you pull through all the loops gently. You single crochet to put them in place, then you chain 1. Okay, so this is our puff leaf. Let's have another one. We are going to yarn over and pull your yarn, yarn over, pull your yarn, yarn over, pull your yarn. Okay, then in the next you have the same thing. Okay, so always we work from the previous puff leaf, then we move on to the next one. So you chain 1 to keep it in place and chain 1 again. Okay, so from the previous puff one, yarn over 3 times, get to the next mesh hole that you have, yarn over, and yarn over. Then you pull through all the loops, 1 single, one chain and another chain. Okay, so this is how you work for the second row. Okay, so you keep on making this puff till you get to the end of your work. Alright, so let's do that till we get to the end and see what happens next. At the end of your work, you make sure you end with double crochet, 2 double crochet, just like we started with. So you end with it. You are ending with and starting with 2 double crochet because we want our work at the end to be able to lie flat. Okay, so you chain 1 and you turn your work, and you're going to repeat this same pattern. So in the first 2 stitches you make a double crochet. And in the first mesh hole that you see there, the mesh first hole, we are going to start creating a puff leafy over there. So this part, the mesh hole you see here, so you yarn over, you pull, you yarn over, you pull, you yarn over, you pull, then you yarn over, you pull, you yarn over, you pull. That's in between the first puff and the second puff leaf. You make another puff leaf. Okay, then you chain 1. Right, so you see that our work next row is directly above the previous puff leaf that we created. So we're going to do with the same for the next one. And you pull through. Okay, so at the end you realize that the second is also right on top of the second. I'm going to do the same for the third, the fourth, the fifth, and making sure that when we get to the end we double crochet 2 times, then we chain 1 and turn our work. So after working several rows, guys, this is what you should be getting. It's very easy, and I said I recommend using a bigger hook, a hook that is not all that much bigger, but it should be at least bigger than the recommended hook that you are supposed to use for your yarn. Okay, so guys, at the end, this is our work. Is beautiful and easy. Thank you so much for joining me and watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye.